Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by Air Patrol North. Visit airpatrolnorth.ca. Jayna Hefford was one of the greatest offensive talents in the history of women's hockey. Now she's ready to get the PWHL in flight. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show. Coming up! Our guest today was born in Trenton, Ontario. She grew up in Kingston, started at the University of Toronto. Central Women's Hockey League Rookie of the Year, multiple NWHL scoring titles, the all-time scoring leader in that league. In the 2006-7 season, she had 44 goals in 28 games, 229 goals, 404 points in 199 NWHL games. The CWHL MVP, 16 years with Team Canada, 39 goals, 40 assists in 55 Olympic and World Championship games. Over 200 Team Canada appearances, 7 World Championship gold medals, 4 Olympic gold medals. The former CWHL commissioner, a member of the Hockey Hall of Fame, and currently Senior Vice President of Operations for the new Professional Women's Hockey League. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Jayna Hefford. Jayna, great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we had an extensive preview there, promo of your career there. But let's talk about how it got started. I know that you started in Ringette, but how did you end up in hockey?
Well, if I can remember, I love the game. I have an older brother who played. My parents were pretty involved in the game. And so it was pretty innate for me. I had a love for the game at a very young age. And just that was what I always wanted to do. So fortunately, I had a family that supported that, could see the passion that I had for the game and really encouraged me to chase that dream and follow my passion.
You mentioned the support from your family. Did you run into any roadblocks along the way in your early days?
Well, I think there was always sort of some rumblings around, a young girl playing on a boys team and maybe taking the spot of a boy on an all-star team, that sort of stuff. But overall, I had a fairly positive experience, at least, the part that I saw. And again, I had a family and support system that really encouraged me and saw how much I love the game and really just encouraged that. So I never felt like I was doing something I shouldn't do. Maybe it felt like a little less normal path for a young girl, but I certainly felt the support to continue to chase my goals and dreams.
Yeah, there was some craziness. I mean, Sammy Jo Small was on the show. In her book, she talks about her standing in
Mm.
line with her father, and somebody turned in to sign up for hockey, and somebody turned to him and says, there's a good chance your daughter won't be able to have children as a result of playing hockey, and all kinds of stuff that kids could hear. Clearly, that's not an issue for you
Mm.
guys. Let's talk about your rise up the ranks in hockey. When did you first get the call to the national team, and how did that come about?
Well, I had a chance to play for Team Ontario in both the Canada Winter Games as well as the Under 18 National Championship. So that was my first introduction, I think, into competitive hockey, where I was branching outside of my local team in Kingston and getting to play on a sort of a national stage. So that was when I was 15, and when I was 18 years old, I then chose to go to the University of Toronto to complete my undergrad there. And it was that first season at the University of Toronto that I got invited to the national team camp in advance of the 1997 Women's World Championship. So I had a chance to go to that first camp in January of 1997, made the team, and then competed in my first World Championships that April in Kitchener.
Right, and of course, you went to the Nagano Olympics, but in Salt Lake City was the first time you got a chance to play for the gold medal and win the gold medal. It was final against Team USA, and you got what proved to be the clincher in that game against the US, the gold medal right here. Break in on goal, you stay with it, and you stuffed it home for the gold medal winning goal, the golden goal, if you will. And what was that moment like for you?
Yeah, it was obviously, looking back on it, really special. In the time, you're so zoned in on the point in time in the game. There was 1 second left in the second period when that goal went in. So it wasn't 1 second left in the third period. So it was it was a huge boost of excitement going into the third period, but it also was a sort of a reminder. You get into the dressing room and you realize there's still 20 minutes of hockey to play. So
Right.
it put us up 3-1 at the time. It turned out to be the winner because Americans ended up getting one goal to make it 3-2. So looking back on it, obviously it's a pretty proud moment. And, I'd say probably the biggest goal I ever scored. But in the moment, it was really just about, trying to channel that energy and excitement and take the good out of it, but also realize there was a lot of game left to play.
Yeah, 20 minutes can be just about an eternity, again, especially against a team like, the US who are pretty good, but then
That's
game
right.
is over and they place that gold medal around your neck, and tell us about that moment for you.
I mean, that's a moment that, I'll never forget certainly, and the ability to stand there with your teammates that you have been through so much with. The unique thing about the Olympics is it's really a 4-year journey to get there, and coming off of a loss in '98, it really felt like, I don't know if redemption's the right word, but, it felt like we were so disappointed with, how 1998 turned out, and that really fueled us for those 4 years in between, and it's a lot of hard work that happens over 4 years to prepare for the next opportunity you have to win. So to be able to look down the blue line and, share that moment with those people that have all put in so much work to get to that moment was just really special. And then, you look up in the stands and you have your friends and family there that have also supported you along the way, because that sort of thing doesn't happen without that type of support system as well. So it was a really special moment, personally, collectively as a team, for our families, and I think for our country. It was, the first Olympic gold medal in women's hockey, and as we all know, hockey is an important part of our culture. And so for us to be able to come back after losing in '98 and get that first Olympic gold medal was, a huge thing for women's hockey in this country.
Well, then 4 years later, turn Italy, you guys get a chance to do it again. This time it's Sweden in the final, kind of a surprise there, but you got in a big assist on this play. Do you remember it?
I do. Yeah, that was again another great tournament. We had a team this year that was really, really consistent and really just, floating around all season with a lot of success. And sometimes that's a little scary that you feel like, at some point maybe things aren't going to go well. But we had a group that really, I think, challenged ourselves to get better every day. And this tournament was no different. It was the first time we didn't play Team USA in the final. But we were so well prepared, and we just had so much confidence throughout this entire season. And so I remember that assist, and I remember the game well, obviously winning our second Olympic gold medal. And again, reflecting back on at that point, we were the Olympic champions. So defending that is just as difficult as trying to win your first.
Well, same game, and you get a goal. That's pretty huge, obviously. Sweet goal, a game winner for that gold medal. What made this particular game? I mean, you weren't playing the rival Americans this time. You're playing Sweden. Better, same. What would you say?
I think there was a lot of pride in this team. A lot of people will probably tell you that that was one of the best teams we had when you look at sort of that, the collective players that played across a few different Olympic games. As I mentioned, we just had so much consistency all season, and from top of the lineup to bottom of the lineup. Remember, we had a considered a fourth line, and they were a bunch of young players, but it was like Sarah Viancourt and Megan Augusta, and players that, were great stars, and they were the rookies at the time. So we just had such a strong team that year, and that's the one thing I remember about that season was the consistency of that group and how we held each other, accountable to not let things get loose when we were having so much success, and we just didn't do it all season. We were able to maintain a really high standard with that group.
And of course, 4 years later, this time it's you're getting a chance to win that gold medal on home ice. Olympic medal gold number 3 for you. Uh, I also want to ask you, why number 16? Why did you choose to wear 16?
Well, I started out playing hockey in Kingston, and I wore number 14 for my first few years. My birthday's May 14th. I don't know if that's why I chose it at the time. I can't
Okay.
remember why I chose 14, but and then when I got to girls hockey in Kingston, I couldn't have that number. Somebody else had it, so I went to 15, and I played all my minor hockey in Kingston as number 15. And then I got to the national team. I was wearing number 15 at the University of Toronto as well. When I made the national team, Danielle Goyette had number 15. So there was no chance I was
Mm,
gonna take that number
yeah.
from her as a big veteran of the team and obviously a star and a Hockey Hall of Famer herself. So I sort of got given 16. Somebody said it's the closest thing to 15, and so it became my number from that point on. But it wasn't one that I chose originally, but it
Right.
obviously worked out pretty well for me, and I that's how I associate myself in terms of a number.
Right, and every level of hockey from then on, it was 16, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Ever since I made the national team, then I never went back to any other number.
So, okay, you weren't done. Sochi, gold medal number 4. What was the significance of the Sochi win? And at that particular time, winning that 4th gold medal. Now you're clearly one of the veterans of the team, whereas coming up, there were other veterans to look to, but now you're sort of you're definitely one of the veterans of this team.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I knew that was gonna be my last season going through those games and, had to take on an additional role of sort of that leadership, and that had sort of evolved, I'd say, from 2010 and then into 2014. That was one of our most difficult seasons, I'd say, across the board from the level and the volume of training to, injuries and fatigue that happened to the changing of a head coach 8 weeks in advance of the Olympic Games. There was just a lot of stuff we were dealing with. So, as a veteran and a leader on that team, we had a big job to try to, keep ourselves focused and on track and make sure that we were in a position to challenge for an Olympic gold medal. When we were able to do that, I mean, when you look back on that gold medal game, it was probably the craziest game I'd been a part of with the change in momentum and being down 2 goals with less than 4 minutes
Mm.
to go in a gold medal game, and I think it just epitomized the character that was on that team and in that dressing room. That we never felt like we were out of the game with less than 4 minutes to go, and I know anybody watching that game and probably our families thought that game was over, but we had a group that just wasn't willing to give up on each other and give up on that dream and really felt like we were still in that game. And so for that to be my last game with the national team and the way it went down and to be able to win in overtime was just something really special and just such a special group to be a part of, to be able to pull something like that off on the biggest stage.
Unlike the men's team, these guys are thrown together at the last minute, more or less, give or take. They come from their pro teams, and then they get together for a training camp, and then you guys are together all the time. And there's got to be like a much different bonding process. It must be like being a member of a big family, isn't it?
It is. You get pretty close to people that you go through those really hard moments and those really wonderful moments with, and there's also, no guarantee that from year to year people are going to still be there, and so we really get the opportunity to get to know each other on an entirely different level. And there was a number of players that spanned, more than a few games, so it's pretty cool to have those relationships that lasted so long. And there's a lot of things being part of a team that you have to hold people accountable for, and you have to push one another and challenge each other, and so that makes those relationships pretty deep, and so it's a pretty neat thing to be a part of.
Anybody ever say anything to you that really challenged you, and you at the time you wanted to, you know, give them a shot in the head, and but you took the advice and it made sense. Yeah, anything that ever happened like that?
I wouldn't say so much that. I certainly was a player in practice that I played hard against my own teammates. So there was certain teammates that you knew were going to play hard back against you, and so I had some great battles on the ice with like the likes of Cheryl Pounder and Megan Mickelson, all defensemen. And you're going through those drills and
Yeah.
Colleen Sistorix, and you get heated moments at times, but you also somewhere along there understand that you're making each other better. So any sort of challenges I faced, I felt like were more those sort of in the heat of the moment in practice when you're really trying to push one another.
Right. So here we have some clips from some of your teammates, your former teammates, as they described your play and your leadership. Vic, can you roll that?
She was dominant. She was a player that teams would try to stop and try to check, but she was unstoppable.
She scored a lot of goals, but all the teams that we played against were aware of Jayna. They always tried to get under her skin and, maybe hit her a little bit harder, obviously with not being the biggest kid out there either, but she was very mentally tough and never let anybody, get the best of her.
She's been, 5 Olympic Games, only shared with one other player, Haley Wickenheiser, 12 different world championships. I mean, she's second to none.
So, capping a great career by being inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. What do you think about that? I mean, you're and what a class you're part of. Willie O'Ree, Martin Brodeur, Martin Saint Louis. Incredible honor, I'm sure this must have been for you.
Yeah, it was really special. And, again, I've said so many times, it's something you don't dream about growing up. You dream about winning championships and winning Olympic gold medals, and you never really dream about going into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And that was just it was a surreal experience for a lot of reasons, but mostly I think, being overwhelmed with the emotion of it, and being able to share that with so many people that were a part of the journey, whether that was my family or my teammates or friends or coaches. There was so many people that play a part of your career that it really feels almost bigger than yourself. And so it was just a really incredible experience, and something that's certainly one of the biggest honors of my career.
Well, we have a clip from that induction, so if we can roll that now, Vic.
My
can you
story is
talk to us?
about the power of opportunity, like Willie already spoke about tonight. It's about following a passion and not letting anybody else shape that dream. Now, as I hold the role of Commissioner of the Canadian Women's Hockey League, I have the privilege of sharing my experiences and helping to leave a lasting impact for young hockey players. I believe in the power of opportunity. As a mother, I know that we're all born without biases or prejudice, and I believe if we find a way to maintain that innocence in our children, they'll know they can become anything they choose to be, regardless of gender, status, religion, or race. Dreams without borders are powerful, and fewer barriers represent freedom. Hockey has given me so much. I wouldn't be up here tonight if I didn't have the opportunity to play the game, even at a time when it was still considered a boys' sport. I hope you'll join me in advocating for the power of opportunity for everyone, because it's only when our voices are united that we become too loud to ignore. Thank you.
You mentioning a lot of talk about inclusion there, which is very appropriate, I think, for particularly in that particular class. At the time, you were commissioner of the CWHL, and now you are with the PWHL. How far has hockey come in the 5 years since you've been inducted? Women's hockey. In
Oh,
particular.
it's come incredibly far. I mean, when you look at that league, and I would say I played in 3 different versions of women's pro leagues, and they've evolved along the way, and they were all an important part of the journey to get here where we are now with the PWHL. And we've set a new standard for professionalism in women's professional hockey, and it's just so exciting to see where this league is going to go. We have the backing of an ownership group that has experience, that has capital, that has fought for the same values we have around equality. So we have the best players in the world that are all, in one league, and we've never seen a time like this for women's sports. So it's so exciting where we're at right now, and we know this is just the beginning. We're going to continue to grow, and there's going to be some incredible professional experiences for many, many women to come.
Yeah, let's look at this team here. Okay, heavy hitters: Billie Jean King, Lana Kloss, Stan Kasten, the Dodgers president, Dodgers senior vice president of business, Royce Cohen, Brian Burke, of course, Mark Walter, yourself. Would you call this maybe perhaps a dream team?
Absolutely. I'm not sure we could have found a better group to be behind this, to back this, to support it, to financially support it. These people believe in what we're doing. Mark Walter's probably the most prolific sport owner in the world. He does everything first class, every organization he's a part of. Billie Jean King and Alana Kloss have been fighting for women's sports for over 50 years, amongst other equality, issues and social justice issues. And so, our values are aligned. They come with the experience, and they come with the capital to be able to put a business plan in place that's going to be successful. And so we feel so fortunate to have brought them into the women's hockey world and to have them leading the way for us.
Right, and the PWHL draft was just held. Billie Jean King front and center in that. She made the announcement as the Minnesota franchise used the first overall pick to take Taylor Heisey out of
Minnesota
the University of
selects
Minnesota. There you go.
Heisey.
A 5'10" forward, 65 points in 38 games. Toronto had the second pick overall, which they used to take defender Jocelyn the Rock. 6 of the 10 players picked overall, first overall, were defensemen. It's surprising to hear that as a former forward.
Yes, sitting up there, I was definitely realizing how many defensemen were being picked, and I kept thinking of all the defensemen that like to say defense wins championships and rub it in the forwards' faces. So they certainly was heavy on the defense. So I guess I'll have to give it to them on that one.
Well, the Toronto franchise also signed Renata Fast, Larocque's longtime defensive partner with Team Canada. Well, would you say that overall you're glad the way that the team, the draft turned out? I mean, it's pretty impressive, I have to say.
Yeah, we were thrilled with the result of that. We had great media partners that were all a part of that. CBC took the lead, but we had TSN coverage, Sportsnet, Nesson, ESPN Plus. It was really great. The setup was wonderful. We had so many players and their families in attendance. We had great folks in different stakeholders in the women's hockey world that were helping make selections. So it really felt like a really historic and special day for our sport.
So, Gina Kingsbury, the general manager of the Toronto team, she's focused on defense, obviously, but I just want to step back. The Canadian Tire sponsorship, how significant was that? They were sponsors of the draft. They're a major sponsor for the league. Um, I would think that that's probably good for business for both parties.
Yeah, I mean, they've been leaders in the women's equity space now for a number of years. They made a commitment to, fairly, sponsor and support and partner with women's sports organizations, and it makes a significant difference. And them coming on as a founding partner of our league is pretty special. And I'm not surprised because they've been incredibly supportive of everything we've been doing over the last few years. But it's great to see them there, and I think they're getting a lot of recognition for the work that they're doing well beyond just, the the retail stores that they operate.
More sponsorship news to be announced in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I expect there to be lots more. There's an incredible amount of interest to get behind what we're doing. So it'll be fun over the next number of weeks and months to see that come to fruition.
Yeah, okay, I mentioned Gina Kingsbury stocking up, building from the blue line out, I guess, but she also signed a pretty impressive offensive talent in Sarah Nurse. Now, Sarah was on this show not very long ago, and member of the new Toronto franchise. Uh, Here are some of the issues that Sarah felt would need to be addressed in terms of the future of a new league. Let's roll that back.
Understanding that we want a truly professional environment. And yes, that includes compensation, but that mostly includes professional nature. There's a reason that you look at guys in the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, you look and see that they have these long, so incredible careers. And it's because they have the support, the staff, they have that first class treatment, that first class travel. And that's something that in women's sports as a whole right now, we lack. And in women's hockey, we definitely lack. So for us, that's what we're seeking to create. We want to have a sustainable league where everybody is paid a livable wage. There are benefits, there are insurance, there's health insurance, there's injury disability, because that's something that is not seen in women's hockey at the present moment. But also like childcare and things like that. We have to understand that as women's professional athletes, we have different needs than the men. And so for us, it's all about creating that professional environment, having the marketing, having the admin, the people in the C-suite. We need all of that to create an excellent professional atmosphere. And so compensation is a small part of that, because obviously you need money to live, but there's so many other things that go into a professional sports league that we are looking to create. And the ball is definitely moving in the right direction. And I think we're going to see it sooner than a lot of people expect.
Well, she covered a lot there. Do you feel that her concerns are pretty much all or mostly addressed here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was leading the Players Association for a number of years, and this was all a big part of this model moving forward. And a lot of people thought it was just about salaries. And to Sarah's point, it's well beyond that. Of course, players want to make money and need to make money, but you have to look at the overall package. There's housing stipends, there's meals, there's different things like that. Obviously the benefits and the healthcare and all of that comes into a full comp package. But additionally, it's about the professionalism that will exist within the league. And that's around facilities, it's around infrastructure, it's around the staff that will support these players, about the treatment that they get. All of those things come together to create a professional league. And we're trying to ensure that we don't miss any of them. It's an important part that the player experience is great and that we take care of these women in a professional way.
Is the Toronto team going to play? Is it Rico?
We
Is
haven't
that what I
announced
heard?
that yet. So I can't
Oh,
let it
okay.
out yet.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. We'll hang on
More
to
to
that for a
come
little
on.
while. Okay. Okay. So we got 6 teams, a 24 game schedule starting in January. I know it would be nice to start earlier, but the fact that you guys can get off the ground in January, I think is pretty impressive. Is there a lot to be done between now and then?
Yeah, there's an incredible amount of work to be done, and we're working at a rapid pace at the moment. We're really thrilled with where we're at in terms of having GMs in place and head coaches in place, and we got through the draft, and now there's just a lot of additional work to do around rules and regulations and medical protocols and various policies that will exist within the league and video review and player safety committees and just making sure all that's in place before the season starts, as well as getting the players into training camp in November. So the work never stops. So we continue to work hard behind the scenes, but we have incredible people that are working on behalf of this league, and I know that we'll get there.
What about next year? What kind of schedule are you expecting moving forward?
So next year, the number of games will increase slightly. So this year there'll be 24 regular season games. In year 2, it goes up to a minimum of 30. So there'll be a few extra games because we have a bit more time to get to that point. But we'll intend to grow on what we do this year, and we have very high standards for how we're going to launch in year 1. But we know we're going to continue to get better as we go. So just excited to get the players on the ice this year and make sure that we're growing every year, and we're making sure that we have a fan base that's going to grow with us.
Now, previous leagues, pro leagues, women's pro leagues, haven't had a lot of support, if you will, from the NHL. This one is a little bit different. Am I correct in assuming that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the NHL has been very clear that they weren't going to get involved until there was one league in North America, and so we have one league now in North America, and they've been incredibly supportive. They can provide a lot of experience, a lot of support on the marketing, the promotional side, potentially some tie-ins at the local team market levels, and everything we've requested in terms of support at this point in time. Around the resources and people that can help us, expedite the work that we're doing. They've been more than open to have those conversations and to make connections. And so it's been wonderful so far to be able to work so closely with them and feel that they're supportive of this entire thing that we're doing. And they're going to be there at every corner as we need advice and experience to potentially provide some input.
It sounds exciting because I mean the NHL support is, I think, vital for sure. You have the NWHL newsletter, which I subscribe to. I highly recommend it for people who want to keep track of what's going on with you guys. Um, Final question I like to ask our guests before they go: what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Cool. I think it's always been about standing up for your values, and if you're doing something that you believe in, you can sleep well at night. And I think that's been leading me over the last 3 to 4 years with the PWHPA, and it's been an amazing journey. It's been challenging. It's been frustrating. There's been ups and downs, and I think at the end of the day, I always believed in what we were trying to create, which was a better future for hockey, better future for women and girls that want to be in the game, the societal change that we're going to create through, professionalizing female athletes. And as much as those, have those hard days and the people that, maybe don't want to see you succeed. To me, it was always knowing that I was standing up for what I truly believed in, and that helped me, sleep at night. So I think that's it. Just following your passion, and standing up for what you believe in.
Right. You don't have to say "I told you so," but I told you so. So, Yeah, I really impressed by what you guys have done and the people involved. And yeah, it's just I see nothing but an awesome future for you guys. And thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you're crazy busy, and it's been hard to nail you down for this, but I do appreciate you taking this time. And yeah, so good luck with the PWHL.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was great, great conversation.
All right, thanks very much. All right, Jayna Hefford. More sports when we come back.
What our kids breathe matters more than ever. But how can you tell if a school is safe to breathe in? If you could actually see what's in the air, would you keep them home? Introducing Air Patrol, making the invisible visible, ensuring schools are safer for everyone. Breathe safely.
My Swiss picks of the week. Last week, I picked the two big races on Mohawk's massive card for 2-year-olds. I picked both winners. In the $970,000 Metro Pace, I went with Captain's Quarters, who jumped into the lead at the half. He was challenged late by the favorite, but let's get the call of the finish.
Hanover on the outside will try and wear him down. Clever Cody is looking for some racing room. Captain Luke is back in fourth. Gem Quality outside fifth. It's Captain's Quarters. Legendary Hanover trying to find more. Clever Cody's got nowhere to go. Captain's Quarters. One final push from Legendary Hanover. Captain's Quarters wins the Metro Pace. Legendary Hanover was second. Clever Cody was third. Captain Luke fourth. 149-3.
Joni Jameson drove the winner. Captain's Quarters, trained by Herb Holland for owner Rich Stiles. I also picked the exactor. Jameson also drove the Metro winner last year.
Everybody saw him last week. I was in an impossible spot. It was, it wasn't a great drive, and got to shake loose and 25-2. Like, horses just don't do that every day. I knew he had the best horse coming in. I just didn't know how the trip was going to work out, and I definitely didn't see myself removing to the lead. But he did what he's supposed to do. He goes when you ask him. He's an amazing horse.
Jody's pretty obliging. I asked him to come in, and we trained him in sets all the time. And when it come time to race him, we knew he was a nice colt, and the only option was Jody at the time.
A wild race in the Mohawk Million for 2-year-old trotters. TCI, the favorite, had an early break, but managed to get back in it. Tennessee Tom would trot into the lead, but we had a terrific finish. Let's get the call.
Comes Griff, Tennessee Tom, TCI on the far outside is coming on. There's 6, 7 across. TCI digging in though is Tennessee Tom. TCI, Tennessee Tom, TCI. You gotta be kidding me. TCI wins the million. Second was Tennessee Tom. Allegiant was third. 154-3.
Oh, great call. David Miller drove the winner, TCI. What a horse coming back from that break. Trained and co-owned by Ron Burke. Mickey Burke and Miller commented afterwards.
What were your thoughts when you got away at the back of the pack? Did you ever think that he really had a shot turning for home?
No, not at all. Like at the quarter, I was like, wait, we got the Breeders' Crown still. And then, I got him out in the flow, but he was running in so much around the last turn, he really wasn't making up any ground up. But as soon as he got into the straightaway, I said he's going to win.
This colt's so flawless normally that you just don't expect it. And when it happened, you're like, oh no. And it's all you can do. And then you just watch the race and see what happens. And he just put in a phenomenal effort, and fortunately the race set up for somebody coming from behind with his talent that he was able to do it. And I mean, give the colt a lot of credit. He come back and didn't make didn't make anything other than that, and just go forward.
And so we made some money this week. Coming up Thursday night at Woodbine, it's a 6th race, $110,000 event, 6.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. I'm looking at the number 6 horse, Jab. Sky Chernitz rides for David Cote, a 5-year-old mare with 3 wins and 7 starts this year. She's been in the money in 4 of her last 5 races. I also like the 5, 6, 8 exactor and triactor box. So go to woodbine.com for all the latest racing info. You can also get the latest from Woodbine Thoroughbred and Woodbine Standardbred on Instagram and X. Go to hpibet.com, darkhorsebets.com, and bet365 for your wagering options.
Discover the finest patio experience in Toronto at the Stella Artois Terrace. Situated on the 3rd floor of Woodbine Racetrack, delight in mouth-watering shared appetizer and raise a toast to the evening. Relish expertly prepared main courses that will tantalize your taste buds. Capture the beauty of sunsets. Indulge in delectable desserts. Secure your reservation today and immerse yourself in the excitement of the races. Enjoy an unparalleled view of the thrilling finish line.
Well, it's a special place, and the food is great, the atmosphere, it's really a nice experience.
Experience the enchantment of Stella Artois Terrace. Open 4 days a week. Undoubtedly the city's premier patio destination.
Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Attention security seekers. Ready to take control? Introducing Corporate Protection and Investigative Services, your ultimate solution. Retailers tired of losing profits to theft? Our retail loss prevention experts have you covered. Mobile patrol, close body protection, insured door persons, we've got your security needs covered from all angles. Background investigations and civil recovery programs, trust us for thorough solutions. Licensed by the Ministry of Solicitor General, fully insured and bonded. Visit www.corporateprotection.ca or call 1-800-827-1692 for top-notch security and private investigation services. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more. And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great folks. We highly recommend them all. Thank you for your support of Canadian and local sports. A reminder that the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and Pocket Cast, as well as the Spanglish Network, Singo TV, and Buzz TV Live. Also, check out the show on YouTube. All of our past great shows and clips are on there. There's lots of them. Check them out. You can spend hours there. Like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Thanks once again to a great guest we had this week, Jayna Hefford, and good luck to the PWHL. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. And let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Do you want to buy or sell a home? Could 31 years of real estate experience help you? Why not speak to an amazing team that loves to overpromise and overdeliver? Aldo has a tremendous team of experts on staff. They are committed to making your next real estate transaction smooth and comfortable. Call 416-GET-ALDO or visit getaldo.com.
Air quality at work matters more than ever, but there's no way to tell if a space is safe to breathe in. If you could actually see what's in the air, would you even come to work? Introducing Air Patrol, making the invisible visible, ensuring workplaces are safer for everyone. Breathe safely.
Rooted in 60 years of tradition, Sleepy Hollow is a private golf club with a friendly community of members just minutes from Toronto. With mature trees and rolling fairways, Sleepy Hollow provides a challenging and enjoyable experience for passionate golfers. Enjoy great golf, amazing dining, and a picturesque patio second to none. Visit sleepyhollowcountryclub.com. Joe Tilley here. My wife Penny Claire and I recently took an amazing trip to Egypt and Jordan with Trip Oppo. And here are our top 10 must-dos. Number 6, the mighty temple of Abu Simbel was also a highlight. As I stood before the colossal statues of the temple of Abu Simbel, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe and wonder at the sheer scale and beauty of this ancient monument. I would highly recommend that you book your next trip through Trip Oppo. Call them today. Hi there, I'm Joe Tilley. Are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime? Next March, during the enchanting cherry blossom season, join me and my wife for an unforgettable 2-week journey to Japan and South Korea. In Japan, you'll experience the magic of the season as we visit the stunning Osaka Castle against a backdrop of cherry blossoms. Feed the adorable Sika deer at Nara Park, glide through picturesque landscapes on the famed bullet train, cruise on Lake Kawaguchi, and witness the awe-inspiring view of Mount Fuji. Relax in natural hot springs and savor a delightful Fuji dinner banquet while dressing in traditional robes. And of course, we'll dive into Tokyo's cutting-edge technology scene. In Korea, dress in elegant hanbok attire and step back in time at Cheongdokgung Palace. Wander through Andong Village, a true glimpse into Korea's rich heritage. Delight your taste buds with the flavors of Korean barbecue. We'll even visit the DMZ area to get a glimpse of mysterious North Korea. And guess what? This incredible journey is all yours for just $54.99, all-inclusive, with direct flights from Vancouver, or $58.99 from Toronto. Book now to unlock up to an extra $1,700 in upgrades and savings. Let's make some memories. Let's explore. Let's travel. Guests on Joe Tilley Sports receive a gift certificate from Classica Imports. Top of the line imported men's clothing. Check out the Classica Essential Collection now. Go to shopclassica.com.